Hello everyone, this is Ray Savage with Cambium Networks. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Today we will be covering cnPilot 802.11ac Wi-Fi solutions, and our presenters are Chetan Habale, who is the Global Product Manager for cnPilot Solutions, and also Dave Geithner, who is our Director of Technical Managers. The presentation is being recorded and will be available for replay on both YouTube and our community. But during the course of the presentation, if you do have any questions, please use the question and answer dialog box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll get to your questions either during the course of the presentation or after the formal presentation. Well, without any further ado, Chetan, we're ready.
Thank you, Ray. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening, depending on your time zone. Thanks for making time for this webinar. At this webinar today, we'll specifically focus on Cambium's cnPilot home and small business routers. These are part of Cambium's 802.11ac Wi-Fi solutions that we debuted in the late third quarter of last year. Ray, could we flip to the next slide? Great. Thank you. As some of you may have seen this, but others are new to this, our vision with our Wi-Fi products was to develop products for our current customer base across enterprise, outdoor, public Wi-Fi, and industrial Wi-Fi. And our residential solutions are part of our managed residential vertical. And they're designed to work with and without Cambium wireless backhaul. And as we go through this presentation, I'll be talking about some of the advantages of our solution when they are deployed with Cambium's ePMP or PMP 450 wireless backhaul. As part of our Wi-Fi solutions, we announced 3 products. These are our Cambium home and small business routers, Cambium Enterprise, and Maestro, which acts both as the Wi-Fi manager and Wi-Fi controller. And as you can see on this slide, the R200 is part of our home series. It comes in 2 flavors. It comes as R200 with a single band 11N router, or as R201, which is our 802.11ac dual band home and small business solution. And on the enterprise side, we have the E400, which is our indoor enterprise-grade high-density wireless access point, the ePMP 1000 hotspot, which is our outdoor Wi-Fi access point, and shortly coming up in late Q1 or early Q2 is our E500, which is our dual-band 802.11ac Wi-Fi access point. All of our Cambium access points are managed from cnMaestro. cnMaestro is our manager and Wi-Fi controller, providing inventory management, state management, and Wi-Fi control functions. Our cnPilot Wi-Fi access points are really part of Cambium's end-to-end wireless solutions. And what we mean by end-to-end is when you combine our access points with Cambium's long-distance, point-to-point, and long and distribution access point-to-multipoint solutions, Cambium is now able to offer its customers all of the wireless solution that goes the whole distance from 200 kilometers to 2-meter access. And all of these solutions will be managed from cnMaestro. Today, cnMaestro manages ePMP and Wi-Fi access points, and in every quarter we're going to start adding all of our Cambium access points to cnMaestro management, providing management for under cnMaestro for ePMP, which is available today, PMP 450 coming up shortly, and then PTP 650 and eventually PTP 820 series of products. What we're going to focus today, Ray, if you can click on this slide, what we're going to focus today is on Cambium's Edge Access Home and Small Business, our R200 and R201 Wi-Fi products. Next slide, please. And then next slide. The motivation for developing our home and residential solution really came from our WISPs, wireless ISP customers. Many of our WISPs today supply broadband, and what we find in a lot of these homes is people often supply their own Wi-Fi routers or Wi-Fi access points, and they often combine this with a 4-port LAN switch if they need to connect wired devices, or they often have to, many of them are switching from traditional voice to voice over IP, so they often have a box. For example, in the United States, you have 1-inch boxes in a lot of the WISP supplied broadband homes. And where Cambium supplies the wireless backhaul, you also have a PoE adapter. So you've really got 4 components sitting inside the house that isn't managed by the wireless ISP. And when something goes wrong, there is just so many failure points along the way, and the broadband supplier has very little visibility to what is going on. And this is one of the biggest motivations here, because about over 60 to 70% of the calls many of our customers receive today are related to problems inside the house, whereas the customers tend to think that the problem is with the broadband supplier, and this causes loss of reputation. It takes time for the ISP to troubleshoot the problem and figure out where the problem lies, and even if the problem is not in the ISP and is in the customer's house, there's very little that the ISP can do to solve the problem. So this was really the underlying motivation. And Ray, if you can click on this. And that is why we introduced the R200 and the R201. The R200 and the R201 combine 4 of these functions: the PoE adapter that supplies power to the SM on the roof, the ATA box that supplies voice over IP function, the 4 LAN ports, and the 2 SSX ports. All of this combined in one box. And previously, while you had a number of these boxes that were not managed, now you have a box that can be remotely managed from CN Maestro, and gives you end-to-end visibility. It gives you visibility to managing the wireless access point and the wireless subscriber module on the roof, and gives you visibility into managing the home router inside the house as well. Next slide, please. So in addition to the CN Maestro management, the R200 and R201 come in multiple SKU options. It comes as a 11 AC outdoor, 11 AC indoor dual band router or 11N router. It comes with options with and without the ATA function, which provides you the voice over IP function. And it comes in an option where we combine both Wi-Fi, the voice over IP function, and the Cambium PoE all in one box. For those, we've also got some customers who are interested in just Wi-Fi access only. So the R200 and R201 are also available in a Wi-Fi only model without the PoE and without the ATA function. Next slide, please. And Ray, this slide builds out. So the home and small business router comes with most of the functions that you would expect in a good home router. It comes with an 802.11 AC gigabit router, 4 SSIDs and up to 64 clients. It's got a DHCP server built in, and it's got IPv6 coming up very shortly on the roadmap as well. So you've got all of the things that you need in this box to deploy a functioning router. So later on in this presentation, Dave Wright will go through a reference implementation where it's really a translation of a demonstration equipment that we've set up in our lab, where we can, it's a reference demonstration equipment where Dave demonstrates triple play, video, voice, and data on these home routers. And we've found a number of customers who are now beginning to implement these routers, and Ray will walk us through some of the nuances of that reference implementation. And when it comes to voice over IP function, this box is ready to activate. So you can remotely activate the voice over IP function, and this gives WISPs a way to monetize their network after installing this router. So we've got wireless ISPs who are now installing these routers in customers' homes. They're often charging a monthly fee or a lease fee for installing these routers. And even for customers who don't really want the ATA function, WISPs are finding it advantageous to deploy this box indoors. So you've got the ATA ready to deploy as and when the customer decides to sign up for the WISPs voice service as well. Next slide, please. Ray, if you can, thank you. One more slide. So one of the power of Cambium's cnPilot function is not only the power that's inside the router, but it's really the management that's behind the router. And that management is supplied from cnMaestro. cnMaestro is our new ground-up designed Wi-Fi controller and manager. And it's really more than a Wi-Fi controller and manager. It's designed to be a common manager for all of Cambium's products. It's completely designed from ground up, taking advantage of all of the advantages in software architecture and engineering over the last decade. So it's cloud deployed today and will come in both a cloud deployed version and a local NOC version shortly at the end of this quarter. It's a very highly scalable architecture, provides distributed processing and message bus. So it's cloud friendly, so it can run either in a public cloud or in the local cloud if you have a local private cloud. One of the advantages of cnMaestro is that it doesn't poll the device. It is the device that contacts cnMaestro over an HTTPS tunnel. So because we use secure tunneling and we use a very public and popular protocol like HTTPS, you don't need to do a whole lot of firewall settings. And a lot of our tests, cnMaestro device is able to connect to cnMaestro as soon as it's powered up and without any issues. So it's very friendly for quick deployment and easy operation, which is one of the goals of our cnPilot Wi-Fi products. It also supports multi-tenancy. With multi-tenancy, all of the customers' data is kept separate and private. No two customers can see each other's data, although they're sharing the same underlying infrastructure. So from day one, we've taken care of security and privacy as part of cnMaestro's implementation.
Chetan, excuse me, this is Ray. We did have a question come in online. The question is about meshing capabilities. We have a network operator that his customers have very large homes that need 2 or 3 access points. Can you comment on that a little bit, please?
Sure. So there are 2 ways we offer meshing. On the home and small business, these routers can function as a bridge or as an extender. So you can extend the Wi-Fi network using 2 of these cnPilot products and extend the Wi-Fi network indoors. We also found customers using our enterprise E400 product for indoor home coverage, especially in large homes, where the WISP or the ISP installs these access points on the ceiling. And on those products, we're shortly going to offer meshing as well. So you can connect these E400 products together and mesh them in a star or hub network. And that feature is coming up by the end of this quarter.
Thank you very much.
And on the point of meshing, especially on our enterprise products, we'll also enable meshing across both indoor and outdoors. So if you've got an indoor, a large home where you've got one coverage cover both indoors and outdoors, you can use the E400 product. And then if you want to provide patio or coverage outdoors, you can install a an outdoor Wi-Fi hotspot, and it will mesh automatically with Cambium's indoor product. And all of these features are available on the enterprise side. And on the home side, you can still use the configure the R200 or the R201 as an extender and extend coverage. Okay. On cnMaestro, cnMaestro is really designed to be a carrier class Wi-Fi network manager. It's got all of the features that you would expect from a good management system, and every quarter we continue to add more and more features. It's got a historic dashboard advanced troubleshooting, notifications, inventory management, and provides all of the table views, stats that you expect from any good manager. Next slide, please. In addition to that, it can do bulk image upgrade, so you can upgrade multiple of your access points from cnMaestro. You can set up a job and schedule it, and then go in at that time and activate the job. You can also do template-based configuration, and we'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit later in the presentation. It also has a locationing and map mode, so you can locate your access points and see them. It's also got what we call zero-touch onboarding, which means you can configure and provision your access points even before the access point is installed in the field. And we'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit later in the presentation as well. And last but not least, multiple admin support. Today, cnMaestro supports multiple administrators, but they all have the same role. But shortly, later in the quarter and early into next quarter, we'll support role-based access as well. So you can segment your administrators and manage them based on roles. Here's a snapshot of cnMaestro dashboard. Provides end-to-end network visibility. You can, it's a little harder to see, but if you look at, you can see the dashboard showing the point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, the Wi-Fi access points, and the Wi-Fi clients, all of them on one screen. And on the left, you'll see that it's got a nice hierarchical device organization. Next slide, Ray. And then you'll be able, it has a search function, and it's got the status of all of the devices on one screen. Next slide, please. It's also got a a hierarchical tree that shows you how the devices can be organized. You can organize your point-to-point devices, point-to-multipoint devices, and then in this particular setup, for example, you've got ePMP APs, ePMP SMs, and under the ePMP SMs, you've got cnPilot devices that are being supplied by the backhaul wirelessly. And all of this can be hierarchically seen on the left side. Next slide, please. And of course, all of the stats that you need when you have to monitor and support a device. You get all of the RSSI indication, you get the easy health indication, an MCS uplink and downlink indication, quality indication, and of course a capacity indication that tells you how overloaded each of these devices are. One interesting thing about cnMaestro currently is that it offers GUI template management. Currently it does not have a GUI management, but that's coming up shortly at the end of this quarter. The advantage of a template-based management is that you can create templates, which are really nothing but files, and you can associate these files with multiple access points. So it is a little advanced or complicated when you have to manage, when you have to do them for the first time. But once templates are done, they can easily scale, and it gives you much tighter version control on your configuration changes. And with template-based management, it's possible to create a template that you apply to multiple access points, and then you apply multiple templates to multiple access points. So this way, a few templates can help you manage a very large network. And this is a key point because cnMaestro has been designed from day one to be able to manage thousands of devices. And that's a very important point because where Cambium is going with cnMaestro is that we're not only designing it to manage Wi-Fi access points, but we foresee that our WISPs and ISPs will be in business opportunities that might require them to manage devices in the future. And cnMaestro is really built with all of the foundation architecture that you need to manage those thousands of IoT devices in the future. So we're applying that same philosophy to Wi-Fi management, and cnMaestro today has template-based management. But having said that, we recognize that people do need a friendly GUI screen to be able to manage a few devices, especially at the beginning when they launch their network. And very shortly, cnMaestro will also support GUI-based management. Here's another snapshot. This is a snapshot of the Onboard Gui. This is a slightly older edition of the screen. We've since then updated the screen. And what this shows is the routers come with full-blown security, WPA2 security on the SSID, and also comes with access policies that you can determine who has access to the router. So you can, for example, set up the access where the customer in the home has access to a few of the capabilities on the routers, while the ISP managing the router remotely has full admin access into the router. One other feature we've implemented on the Wi-Fi is our Wi-Fi analyzer. The Wi-Fi analyzer gives you a spectrum map of the how the spectrum is on each of the SSIDs, and this is another handy way in which to look at all of what's going on and set the channel on this equipment remotely. This is really the what you call the money feature when you combine cnMaestro and Wi-Fi access points, and you have wireless access into that premise wirelessly. On one single screen, cnMaestro will show you the access point, the SM, the Wi-Fi device, and the clients. So especially if there's any trouble, if customers complain about poor performance, it's very easy to quickly see which leg in the wireless equipment is the source or the root of the problem. You can see all of that from one screen. If you look lower down, it shows you not only the equipment, but also shows you all of the client information. It gives you the IP and MAC address. And more importantly, it also tells you the manufacturer type of the client devices. So that's very easy, handy for customer service when they log in and have to look at a problem, and the average customer identifies their device by the manufacturer. For example, an Apple tablet or a Samsung phone, and it's easier for customers to see which is the impacted client device. Also, it's not just a handy screen. Ray, if you can click this. This slide builds out a bit, so bear with me. And here, if you look at this, you'll see that it not only gives you the first high-level sort of overview of how the network is performed, how the components in the network are performing, but also gives you a drill-down capability as well. So you can do remote packet capture by clicking on a tab inside the screen that gives you layer 2 packet access as well. And so all of these are really designed for end-to-end visibility, because we recognize that one of the key values in deploying a home router is the ISP be able to have much more visibility into what's going on in the customer's equipment and be able to troubleshoot and debug remotely, more so than they could if they had no access into the end user equipment. And when you put all of these things together, what you really get as an ISP from cnPilot and cnMaestro is the ability to deploy and provision your equipment remotely. So when the equipment is powered on, especially cnPilot home routers can be can pretty much be self-installed by a lot of users. So we're really designing it with a view that if they so choose, an ISP could pretty much ship a cnPilot desktop router, and the business or the home can turn this on. And when it's powered on, it contacts cnMaestro. And the interesting thing here is that cnMaestro can be set up with all of the provisioning information, all of the configuration information, even before the router is actually shipped to the customer's premise. The advantage of this is that you can now separate the training that you need to give to the engineer in the NOC and the engineer in the field. So the field engineers don't need to be trained as heavily. All they're doing is setting it up, making sure that the equipment is powered on, maybe checking for a signal. But once that's done, everything else, all of the configuration is done remotely. And then cnMaestro and the cnPilot devices will talk to each other and download the appropriate configuration. So what this does is speeds up the time it takes to deploy, and it speeds up the time it takes to train and install deployment engineers. Next slide, please. So how do we put this all together? So I thought I'd invite Dave Wright to this presentation to share with you some of the things he's seeing with customers, and he'll use a reference architecture here to go through how to put all of these things together to create a working Wi-Fi network.
All right.
Dave?
So thanks, Jay. Yes, thanks. Sorry about that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So we wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a solution architecture of what we typically see. So there are so many different Wi-Fi use cases out there that our products are used for, and I'm sure a number of you are probably aware. There's inventory management solutions. There's point of sale solutions that leverage our Wi-Fi products. And what you see here on the screen is kind of a reference architecture that is focused a little bit more toward the service provider end of things, and showing how quickly you can and how easily you can integrate in our Wi-Fi solutions as part of your existing wireless service offering to add more value to your network, to create more stickiness for your users, more value-added applications and whatnot. So if you look at the architecture, again, this is one of hundreds of different use cases, but we see this one pretty common, and I just kind of want to walk through it real quickly with you. So on the left side of the document, or of the picture, the architecture picture, is kind of representing a bit of a NOC, or your service provider head end, so to speak. And typical services, DHCP for your network, connectivity into the internet. So you'd have VoIP service if you're going to add some VoIP services onto your network. Perhaps you'd have video content as well. You'd be offering some video on demand to some of your users, which again is things that we see quite often done. And then connected or distributed through a distribution network of sorts, whether it's what's shown here as being an ePMP-based architecture, or whether it's a 450 architecture, or a PTP architecture as well. All these products today, the ePMP and the cnPilot, are supported seamlessly by our backend controller solution, management solution, C and Maestro. 450 is going to be added here this quarter, and the other solutions very rapidly afterwards. So all of this is on that single pane of glass, being able to see your network of the distribution, some of the back-end equipment, the cnPilot devices that are offering Wi-Fi services either residential or enterprise. For VoIP, as you kind of see, the residential R200P solution offering there, or an outdoor hotspot solution with the ePMP 1000, and very soon, as Chetan mentioned, we'll be launching our E500 outdoor solution. This is something that is very common and very easy to do. Things that you need to think about when you're doing this, if you're not already into Wi-Fi offerings, obviously is when you're going to add these additional services, how do you prioritize things that you want to make sure that you're prioritizing, such as VoIP? We have the ability to not only prioritize that within our distribution network that we've done for years and years and years, but now with the launch and advent of these Wi-Fi solutions, we're also able to do prioritization within there and offer and provide you that end-to-end application prioritization as you need it for some of these solutions. Again, whether it's VoIP, whether it's security video, whether it's point of sale that may be very important to you type of information, these type of transactions, all of that being able to be managed and viewed and prioritized with a centralized type of control solution like C and Maestro. Pretty powerful package, pretty powerful package. And I think that's probably the last slide. I don't know if there's anything more that you were looking to be added to that, Chetan, but if so, obviously feel free to fill in with color. Otherwise, we can jump right into the social media. Oh, one other thing, and maybe you'll mention this. Sorry, I'm kind of leashing Ray a little bit here. So we have a lot of different events coming up worldwide, actually, that that promotes training. We have some road shows. You can check our website for those things. But I know we have 3 or 4 different road shows that are highlighting the cnPilot portfolio along with EP&P. I think there's also some free gifts being offered there. Check our website. I believe our partners are sponsoring that. And there's some ones I know going on in Africa and a few other places. So obviously we want to get you knowledgeable on the product via these webinars, but take some time if you're looking to add this to your network to visit one of the upcoming roadshows or training events near you.
Thanks, Dave. And as Dave mentioned, all those training sessions and roadshows are on our website. But you can also follow Cambium Networks on social media, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, or Weibo. And one great resource of a lot of information is the community forum. It's free, and it's community.cambiumnetworks.com. And that's where you'll find information on cnPilot and all of our other products. You can also find information on network planning, business issues. There's also a knowledge base with certified information from our support team. And we do have an area there where you can submit your development ideas, and we actually do execute on a number of those ideas. In addition to that, there are real-world connectivity stories so that you can see what other network operators are doing with their cnPilot equipment and our other equipment. Ask them direct questions and get their direct feedback. Well, Chetan, Dave, there are a few questions in the queue, and what I'd like to do is, first one is network operator is asking, how can I access to CN Maestro management for managing a cnPilot E400? Is there anything special about that?
So go ahead, Chetan, if you'd like. I presume via the question this person already has a CN Maestro account. If he doesn't, you simply go to our website and go to the CN Maestro website, cloud.cambiumnetworks.com, and sign up for one. Once you go through, about a 2-minute sign-up process, you should then now have access to your cloud account, which you can onboard any device. And I believe via the community that Ray said, there are a number of different tutorials if you're not aware or comfortable or familiar with how to onboard a device that you can walk through and or post questions if there's something not real clear to you, and we'll be happy to help you walk through that process. If there's something specific, if you've already gone through all this already and there was something more specific you were looking for with your question, please repost your question or post it to the community. We're pretty active on the community. It's pretty responsive. It's not just something that you post and 2 weeks later you might see something. It's pretty real time. Within a few minutes, sometimes within a couple hours, you'll get a post or response.
Okay, another network operator, and I think, Chetan, this one goes over to you. When you configure your radios as an extender, would it reduce the overall throughput to each access point? And do you have a limit on how many hops you can have?
That is a good question. Yes, it does, and this is really a law of physics. Every time you jump through, for every hop, your throughput gets cut in half. That's because you're sharing the same underlying radio resources. Now, as far as how many hops you can go to, I believe the enterprise ranges will support 1 hop, and on cnPilot home router we support one hop as well. Although we're looking to enable multiple hops on our range extenders.
Great, thank you very much. Well, those are the only questions that we had in the queue. Chetan, thank you very much, and Dave Geithner, thank you very much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing everybody on the community or at a future webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.